The 2020 KBO Postseason begins this Sunday. Just one more game left on the schedule, but we already know the teams and their positions, so it's time for a KBO Postseason preview. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on baseball from around the world. Postseason is about to get started in Korea and Taiwan. Soon after, it will begin in Japan. And the winter leagues are just starting their regular seasons, so we've always got some baseball to talk about here, no matter what time of year it is. Okay, here's what the almost final standings look like. Top 5 teams qualified for the postseason. In the wildcard round, number 5 meets number 4 at the 4th seed's home ballpark. So the Kiwoom Heroes will be playing at the LG Twins' home. It's a best-of-3 series where the 4th seed is given an automatic 1-0 lead, so the Heroes will have to win twice if they want to advance. The Twins only need to win once. Winner of that meets the 3rd-seeded Doosan Bears at their home in a best-of-3. Winner of that meets the 2nd-seeded KT Wiz at Gochuk Skydome, and the winner of that meets the NC Dinos, also at Gochuk. As the top team in the regular season, the Dinos automatically qualified for the Korean Series. The Dinos jumped into first place in the first couple weeks of the season and held on to it all season long. This was the first time the Dinos finished in first place in the regular season. Established in 2013, they are one of the league's newest teams. The newest team, the KT Wiz, are in the postseason this year for the first time. They've been a member of the league since 2015. The Doosan Bears are the defending Korean Series champions, and the Kiwoom Heroes were runners-up a year ago. Here's the postseason schedule. The wildcard game between the Heroes and Twins starts on Sunday, November 1st. If necessary, Game 2 will be on Monday. Tuesday is a day off. The first round of the playoffs begins on Wednesday the 4th at the home of the Bears. On the 5th, it's at the home of the wildcard winner. Friday the 6th is a day off. If necessary, a winner-take-all Game 3 will be played on Saturday the 7th. On Monday, November 9th, the best-of-5 round 2 of the playoffs begins. The Korea Series starts on the 17th. If it goes a full 7 games, the last game will be on November 25th. Looking at the standings again, you see the Dinos finished in first by a comfortable margin, but the other 4 teams were so close to each other. Going into the final week of the regular season, they could have finished in any order. But there are very important differences between these teams. Before I tell you what I think is going to happen, let's take a close look at the 5 teams in the KBO Postseason and how they compare with each other. First, let's look at how these teams did against each other this year. The Dinos get a long break as they wait for their opponent for the Korea Series to be decided, and they'll be hoping it's not the LG Twins. The Dinos were 4-9-3 against the Twins this year, 2-8-1 in the second half of the season. In their last meeting, the Twins swept the Dinos in 4 games. The Dinos would much rather face the KT Wiz, whom they were 10-5-1 against this year. Against the Bears, they were 9-7, and against the Heroes, 8-8. So the Twins will feel pretty confident that they can take down the Dinos if they reach the Korea Series, but they may have trouble getting there since they have to take on the Heroes and the Bears. They were 6-10 against the Heroes and 6-9-1 versus the Bears. If they get past them, they'll get the Wiz, whom they were 9-7 against. The Wiz, as I already mentioned, had a losing record against the Twins and Dinos. The record versus the Heroes was 8-8 and against the Bears 9-7. The Heroes are the only team that do not have a losing record against any of the other top 5 teams. Versus the Twins 10-6, Dinos 8-8, Wiz 8-8, and Bears 9-6-1. So the Bears only have a good record against the Twins, which could be their first round opponent. The Bears will get their first series at home, where their home record was a league best 41-29-2. On the road, they were 38-32-2. The Heroes were 39-32 on the road. They'll have to win on the road in the wildcard game, and the first round playoff after that, if they make it there. Interestingly though, if they advance past the first round, the second round, and the Korea Series, all games will take place at the Heroes' home ballpark, Gochuk Skydome. This is the country's only baseball stadium under a roof, and the games have been moved there because mid-November in Korea can get pretty cold. This would be a very unusual advantage for a 5th-place team. Wiz had the league's second-best home record, 44-28, but among the 5 postseason teams, they are the worst on the road, 37-34-1. Twins are just as good at home as they are on the road. Their 40-31-1 road record is the league's best. At home, they were 39-30-3. Dinos will not have home field advantage in the Korea Series. Good news for whoever their opponent is, because the Dinos had the KBO's best home record, 45-24-3. On the road, they were 38-30-2. I said before that the Dinos jumped out to an early lead in the standings and never relinquished it. From the start of the season till the very end, they were the most consistent winner. But if their postseason performance more closely resembles their most recent performance, they could be in trouble. In October, they were 10-12-3, the worst out of the 5 postseason teams. The best teams in the final month were the Bears, 16-7, and the Twins, 13-9-1. The Wiz were 13-12, and the Heroes 9-9. It's often said that pitching gets you the farthest in the postseason. If that's true, then the Twins are the team to beat. Fewest runs allowed, number 1 in starting pitching, number 2 in the bullpen. No one from their starting rotation was in the top 5 in ERA. Casey Kelly's .332 ERA ranked 6th. He averages 6.19 innings per start, so they usually don't have to turn to their bullpen too early when he's on the mound. Chung-Gyu Lim's 4.08 ERA puts him at 10th in the league rankings. Tyler Wilson, 4.42, is 14th. Lim and Wilson have the best ERA among 2 and 3 pitchers respectively. Best bullpen belongs to the Heroes. Lowest relief pitcher ERA in the KBO. Closer Song-Woo Jo was the league leader in saves with 33. Only 3 blown saves, ERA 2.15. But their starting pitcher team ERA was tied for 4th, even though they had the league leader in ERA, Eric Jokic. Jake Brigham was next best, 9-5, 3.62 ERA. 7 of his 21 starts were quality starts. The rest of their rotation is not very reliable. They have to count on their bullpen to win games. The Bears are another good pitching team. Starting pitcher ERA ranked first, led by KBO wins leader Raul Alcantara with an ERA of 2.64, 4th best in the league. He also goes the furthest into the games, averaging nearly 6.5 innings per game. Won Jun-chae moved from the bullpen to the rotation in early July and picked up 10 wins, ERA 3.84. Team's bullpen ERA ranked 4th. Dinos were 4th in starting pitcher ERA. Drew Rucinski is their ace, 3.05 ERA ranked 5th. Good run support lifted his win total to 19. Mike Wright saw his ERA shoot up to 4.68 after a rough October in which only one of his 5 starts was a quality start. Dino's bullpen was 5th. Closer Jong Hyun-Won had 30 saves, good for 2nd in the league, but also had 6 blown saves and a 4.34 ERA. The Wiz were 7th in starting pitcher ERA. Odrisamer Despaigne had 15 wins, over 200 innings, and a 4.19 ERA. Next they've got Hyung-Joon-Soo, a 19-year-old right-hander, 13-6, 3.86 ERA through 24 starts, and William Cuevas, an up-and-down pitcher with a 4.14 ERA. Bullpen ERA ranked 3rd. Closer Jae-Yoon Kim recorded 21 saves, ERA 3.41. Now let's look at the hitting. Since the first-place Dinos had mediocre pitching, you probably assumed that they had the KBO's best hitting. And that assumption would be right. They scored more runs than any other team. Their 186 home runs easily led the league. Sung Bum Na led the way with 34. Catcher Lee Ji-young was right behind him with 33. And Aaron Altair had 31. Team batting average was .291, ranking 2nd. Min-woo Park was their top hitter, batting .346. Sung Bum Na hit .324, and Lee Ji-young batted .332. Second in scoring was the Doosan Bears, the league's top batting team, hitting .293. Jose Miguel Fernandez was a .340 batter, and Kyung Min-ha hit .330. They scored their runs by hitting the ball, but not over the fence. In home runs, they ranked 8th as a team. Jae-hwan Kim led the team with 29 home runs. They're not a base-stealing team either. No one on the team reached 15 stolen bases. They just hit the ball. Third in scoring was the KT Wiz, a team that has issues with starting pitching, but an offense that makes up for it. Third in team batting, 2nd in home runs. The biggest driver in both categories is Mel Rojas Jr., who will most certainly be the KBO MVP for 2020. Batting average .350, 47 home runs, and 135 RBI. Baek-ho Kang is another good hitter. He chipped in with 23 home runs. They're also a good base-stealing team. Woo Jun Sim led the KBO with 33 stolen bases this year, and Jung Dae Bae had 22. The top pitching team, the LG Twins, are an above-average hitting team. Third in home runs, Roberto Ramos had 38, good for 2nd in the league, but he's been out for the last few weeks with an ankle injury. In team batting, they're 4th, led by .331 batter Hyun-Soo Kim. Then the Kiwoom Heroes, 5th in team scoring, 7th in both batting and home runs. Top hitter is Jung-hoo Lee, .335. Home run leader is Ha-sung Kim with 30. One area where this team can be dangerous is stealing, and not just one runner you have to look out for. Hye-sung Kim stole 25. Kun Chang-so, 24, and Ha-sung Kim, 23. Now that we've seen each team's strengths and weaknesses, let's take a look at the first round matchup, and I'll tell you what I think is going to happen from there. First we have Heroes at Twins. The Twins are playing at home and they only have to win once. The Heroes, on the road, must win twice. But the biggest reason to pick the Twins here is that the Heroes already used their best starting pitcher, KBO ERA leader Eric Jokic, in Friday's 2-0 loss to the Bears. Having to win 2 in a row on the road without your best starting pitcher is a lot to ask for a team that just hasn't been that good lately anyway. I'm picking the Twins to move on to the next round. This sets up an interesting matchup between the Twins and Bears. Bears were 9-6-1 against the Twins this year. Bears have better hitting, Twins have better pitching. As the third-place team, the Bears will be considered the home team. But their home, Jamsil Stadium, is also the home ballpark for the LG Twins. This is a tough one, but I'm going with the Bears. They've been better lately, and they've been tough against the Twins. I'll say Bears in 3. So I have the Bears moving on to face the Wiz in the best-of-5 second round. No home field advantage, they'll be playing at a neutral location. The Wiz won the head-to-head this year by a narrow margin of 9-7. Wiz have a little better hitting. Bears have much better pitching. If this were a best-of-3, I might go with the Wiz. But since it's a best-of-5 and they'll need more than 2 good starting pitchers, I'm picking the Bears to win it in 4 and move on to the Korean Series. That means I've got the Bears meeting the Dinos in the best-of-7 Korean Series. Dinos won the head-to-head during the regular season, though not convincingly, 9-7. Dinos were the highest scoring team. Bears were second. Bears pitching ranked third. Dinos fourth. Dinos had the league's best record in 2020. Bears were third. But in October, the Bears had the best record, while the Dinos were under 500. This one I have going a full 7 games before the Bears pull off the upset and win their second consecutive Korean Series title. And those are my picks. What do you think will happen? Let us know down in the comments. And until next time, this is Baseball International. See ya.